Hello everyone, welcome back. So since the non-stop train wreck of Trump Part 2 has taken off, I've been fascinated with those who are so dedicated still to backing Trump and his madness come hell or high water, particularly those who approach it from an evangelical context. As an atheist, I just find it fascinatingly hypocritical to watch people who wear their faith on their shoulder do everything they can to justify defending and advocating for a malignant tumor like Trump. A man who's never read a book, let alone the Bible, who acts as temperamental as any bully, and has the intellect of a toddler, who sees himself as God in spite of being nothing more than an incompetent, narcissistic loser. The right, the evangelical right included, have embraced the man wholeheartedly. So what mental gymnastics do they do on a regular basis to justify backing a man who is the exact opposite of what a Christian is supposed to be? Well, with that, we'll look at today's character. Devon Gibson is a fairly popular YouTuber with about 1.5 million subscribers. He spends most of his time posting the expected nonsense. Videos like, watch this atheist get humiliated by this Oxford mathematician, being left speechless, blah blah blah. Behind the clickbait title, you'll get nothing more than the usual vapid tautologies, half-truths, and outright lies, none of which actually do anything more than give his fans the warm, fuzzy feelings of vindication they come to his channel for. The goal isn't to make compelling arguments or to tread new ground. Devon just reposts whatever will buzz the jollies of his faithful flock and adds little comments here or there that add nothing to the conversation. I mean, no surprise. It's easier to just feed your audience the red meat it expects than to challenge them or yourself by actually taking a critical look at what you believe or why others don't find it compelling. The political content is no different. He doesn't actually talk about topics. Instead, he posts talking points from his favorite Fox News and right-wing media hosts, nods along and accepts them without an inkling of critical thinking. Occasionally, he'll add a few homespun, folksy comments to the video so it's covered under fair use, and then post it with clickbait titles like, what they won't tell you about the Trump-Putin summit. I mean, it's all good marketing for sure. It's morally bankrupt, vapid, incredibly dishonest tripe, but it sells. It's a channel dedicated to telling his 1.5 million MAGA fans what they want to hear, taking the spin from the right as gospel and peddling it like it's the truth. It's particularly sad and ironic given how much of a devout Christian he claims to be, and I genuinely wonder if he's lying to his audience or is as deep into the cups of Kool-Aid as they are. So I'm going to look at a few clips from various videos he's posted over the past few weeks and just share my thoughts on this fascinating caricature of a real person. Because at least online, Devon is a perfect example of how much of a cult MAGA has become, and why it draws in so many people from the evangelical community. Just like the megachurches follow their pastors over their faith, MAGA faithful follow their dear orange leader far more than they follow any set of values or principles. We'll start off here, where apparently DC residents are actually glad to see a massive military takeover of their communities. Because obviously, why believe your lying eyes when you can have sources like these to rely on for the real facts?
You know, a few months ago I was in Union Station and saw a body hit the floor at the bottom of the escalator in Union Station because there was a murder right in front of me, up on the second floor. I was going to get a tie, and I heard the shots and saw the body hit the floor. So I've been listening all day long to people trying to make some argument that Washington, D.C. is a safe place. It's not a safe place, and we can argue about statistics and numbers. There's a police commander right now on suspension because there's some allegation that the statistics have been altered. But we can argue about that all day long. Nobody in their right mind who lives there or visits there on a regular basis would tell you that Washington, D.C. is safe, and everybody who goes there knows it.
Your video starts with an anecdote from Mr. Scott Jennings. He's a complete political hack. He's as trustworthy as a plate of gas station sushi. So honestly, I A, don't believe his story whatsoever, and B, even if I did, again, an anecdote does not make a statistic. I'll go further into this a little bit later, but the fact that he's seen violent crime doesn't tell you anything about the actual scale of violent crime in the area that he lives. I've experienced plenty of violent crime. I've actually had it happen to me multiple times before, but that fact doesn't change the realities of how often or frequently it happens there compared to any other place in the country. Receipts? Really? Oh, and that's adorable, by the way, putting yourself proudly grinning like a goober right underneath this headline. It's truly top-notch, my guy.
I'm just ecstatic. I've been saying that a long time ago. The federal government should take over the D.C. Police Department.
Leroy Thorpe is a native Washingtonian who founded the volunteer group Citizen Organized Patrol Efforts, also known as the Red Hats. They walk the streets of Chinatown doing violence prevention work.
With the mayor being in power so long, I think she's kind of used to how things are going, and I think Donald Trump really wants to clean it up, and I'm all for it.
And now we go to the Red Hats. Which is fitting. These guys started out in the late 80s, so it's just kind of ironic that they also wear red caps, given MAGA and everything. I did a little digging on this leader, Mr. Leroy Thorpe. And my God, the fact that they're trying to place this lunatic on a pedestal after years of absolutely insane behavior is, it's fitting. The guy's got quite the history. I'll link some sources about him in the description of the video, but there's a lot of stuff there, including calling some of his colleagues and the guy's just a swell human being. But this little group of red hats have been doing this for decades. Whatever you may think of their intentions, the fact is that he's been and will always be complaining about the terrible crimes of DC, regardless of how low or high the actual statistics are, particularly compared to when he started his crusade almost 40 years ago.
That was the case of Reggie Brown, an elderly man with cancer who was beaten and killed on Georgia Avenue by 5 teenage girls, ages 12 to 15. Social media messages revealed in court indicated they did it because they were bored.
No more crime rampant in our beautiful capital. No more teenage girls beating a disabled man to death. No more of that.
Brown's sister Nazia tells News 4 she was glad to see her brother's case got the Trump administration's attention.
I was very happy to hear that. Very happy. He's trying to make a change. He's trying to do something about it and make the city safer.
Nazia says she wants to see harsher punishments for juveniles who commit murder. Right now, they can only be held until they turn 21.
And now we get some anecdotes of some genuinely tragic cases. But there's, again, a big difference between statistics and anecdotes. If these cases are actually the motivation behind this military crusade, why is it focused here instead of Cincinnati, Mobile, Memphis, Tulsa, all of which have higher murder rates per capita than DC? It's almost like the issue isn't about crime, it's about, well, our lovely little guy here, big balls. Anyways, he got his ass kicked at 3 a.m. during an alleged carjacking by 10 juveniles. When you want to talk about receipts, this is the only one that I actually care about, because it's the one that actually got Trump jumped up to justify all of this military intervention. Apparently, big balls here. This guy decided to jump in and protect this poor young lady from these 10 juveniles that were going to brutally assault her. And he stood in and just kung fu'd his way around to be able to protect her integrity. Because that's what big balls does. Sorry, I just don't buy it. Like I said, all you've got now is anecdotes for your receipts, not statistics. And this particular anecdote is just fucking laughable. But that's okay. It's okay. For the sake of argument, let's just say that it does happen to possibly, maybe be true. Does poor Big Balls here getting assaulted really justify bringing in the National Guard and actual active military intervention, boots on the ground into an American city, into the capital of the United States? Because I sure as hell don't think so, and these people don't either.
Innocent people, what's your purpose? What's your goal? What's the motive? Why won't you show your face? Like you look yourself in the mirror and think I did a good job today?
Turn left! Turn left! Trying to get people to turn left to not go down 14th Street. There's a random search right now. They've pulled over about 6 cars. I've seen 2 people get detained, one by ICE, one by the police, taken, no rhyme or reason.
And I just want to tell people at this point that it's not been confirmed. Continue.
That is what it seems like. So we're trying to get people to turn left so that nobody drives down this street.
You brought your receipts and anecdotes and your little videos. I can bring some of mine too. But again, maybe this was a carjacking. Maybe this kid was heroically willing to jump into the fray and defend this woman in her car at 3 a.m. for some reason. But maybe, just maybe, the entire story is bogus. Because just like everything else in this video, Devon, the actual statistics don't matter to you. All you want is a compelling narrative that makes putting a military force onto the ground in a U.S. city sound less reprehensible.
What can we do to make sure that it's safe for the kids?
Neighbors from the Shaw, Mount Vernon Square, and Mount Vernon Triangle neighborhoods say they're fed up.
In the past 4 weeks, we've had 3 shootings.
Stephen McCarty is the ANC for the area. He organized this week's public safety walk.
We need to bring everyone together because this is happening here.
On hand to hear their concerns, D.C. Police 3rd District Commander Sean Connors.
I can tell you right now, we have less shootings here than we had at this point.
He told them that by the numbers, crime is down. In fact, D.C. Police say crime is down across the entire city.
Does anyone here actually think that?
But if you ask these D.C. neighbors,
it shows such a lack and disconnect between what you're trying to sell versus what we're experiencing.
And here, speaking of news articles, briefly, just ever so briefly, here's the core of the issue. We've got feels over reals. The statistics versus the performative outrage. Crime is down massively in D.C. Outside of a crime spike in 2023, it's at a 30-year low. And it's far lower than the cities that I mentioned above, like Tulsa and Memphis and plenty of other places. But why let facts get in the way of a good story? These residents feel like crime isn't down enough, so let's bring in the National Guard. And see what I mean about adding nothing to the conversation? He can't even actually speak. He just adds title cards with these cute little homespun jabs that would make his man Trump just so proud.
We've been talking so much about the numbers, and yeah, usually that's how you play devil's advocate, is you talk about, oh, well, stats say crime is down. However, I can tell you firsthand here in downtown D.C. where we work, right here around our bureau, just in the past 6 months, there were 2 people shot. 1 person died, literally 2 blocks down here from the bureau. It was within the last 2 years that I actually was jumped walking just 2 blocks down from here. And then just this morning, one of my coworkers said her car was stolen a block away from the bureau. So we can talk about the numbers going down, but crime is happening every single day because we're all experiencing it firsthand while working and living down here.
So because our news host here has experienced crime, that means that crime isn't going down. Look, I'm not a news anchor, but I've got a dangerous commute home from my job every day. I've had guns pulled on me twice. I've been assaulted twice. I had a homeless person accuse me of burning down their encampment while following me with a literal mallet in his hand. But those personal experiences are not the same thing as statistics. What I've experienced isn't the same thing as what a city or state as a whole has experienced in terms of the amount of actual violent crime happening in the area. The fact of the matter is that in any large city, anywhere in the country, you can find anecdotes like this. But it's only D.C. that Trump is going after with boots on the ground. And it's not because crime is especially bad there. It's because it's the easiest place that he can get away with this. And no matter how many anecdotes of tragedy you play here on your channel, or Fox News plays on a regular 24-hour stream, it's not the win that you think it is. All it's doing is demonstrating that the only receipts you can bring are emotional buttons to push, because the statistics don't back up the story that your orange tyrant-in-chief is trying to peddle. And sadly, that's all that this video has to offer. Devon doesn't even come onto screen until the end of the video to peddle his merch and tell his audience to like and subscribe, because he doesn't have any thoughts of his own to offer. All he has is clips from 24-hour news channels to regurgitate on his page. No input, no insight, no commentary, just regurgitating the narrative that he wants to peddle to his gullible audience. So with that being said, what happens when he's suddenly faced with a situation he can't just address by reposting the comments of others? What happens when Devon actually has to think for himself and present something, anything, that requires a scintilla of independent thinking? Well, we did get a look at that. When the Epstein cover-up got so badly fumbled by the Trump administration, Devon was obligated to talk about it at least a little bit. And what did he have to say? Did he call out Trump for hiding his close association with Epstein for decades? Did he criticize Trump for so blatantly and obviously mishandling the entire situation? Did he become even remotely critical of his dear leader for his association with the world's most infamous child trafficker? Well, let's take a look, shall we?
I see a whole lot of noise in the world right now, y'all, especially in the political arena. I mean, that's no surprise, honestly. It's usually loud, divisive, constantly changing. An entire mess is what it usually is. But thankfully, God doesn't change. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. That's a relief for me. And although we break down these current events on this channel, and we'll continue to do that in the future, shoot, I'll probably talk about something that's trending tomorrow. There's a time and a place to address these issues. But I just wanted to hit pause for a minute. I just wanted to give us a reminder to start the week off, a palate cleanser, if you may, from all this chaos, and just say it's going to be okay.
Yeah, this is apparently the trimmed and shortened version of Devon's diatribe. It makes me wonder if there was some stuff in the original that he decided was too critical of his dear leader to actually leave posted. Instead of actually calling out Trump for his lechery, hypocrisy, his behavior with young girls, he instead hugs his Bible nice and tight and reminds his faithful flock that God is in control. That it's part of God's plan that Trump was put back in the White House. It's part of God's plan that Devon fully backed a predator for the office of president. When Devon sees the man he's so dedicated to for what he really is, he makes a 20-minute video about letting go and let God. About it being okay to just step back and take a breath, not to get too upset about, electing a sex pest who allegedly violated children and putting that person into the White House, because it's all going to be okay. God is in control, everyone. So, don't worry about it. It's all going to be okay.
Not because things in the world are perfect, not because we got the right person in office and Donald Trump. Some of y'all may disagree. You might think we don't have the right person in office, but it's going to be okay because Jesus Christ is still on the throne. And if he's your Lord and Savior, he's the rock. He's the firm foundation when everything else is going nuttier than squirrel turds. If we love our Creator like everybody should, I'm telling you, if you don't, woo-wee, it's going to be a very bad ending for you. But once you acknowledge that you're not perfect and you humble yourself and you love your Creator, no matter what circumstances you got, we're told in Romans 8, verse 28, that all things are being worked together for good to those of us that love God. That's a beautiful thing. And I don't know why things play out the way they do. I don't know why tragedy happens. I don't know any of that. I know we're in a fallen world. I know sin entered the world through us human beings, going back to Adam and Eve in the garden. And it all comes back to God's ways are above our ways.
And that was it. One video actually talking about the biggest and most despicable moral failing of a modern American president.
Guess what? I truly believe that one day we're going to understand what we can't today. We will have those answers. Amen. That's where our hope is, or that's where my hope is, at least. And I pray it is for you as well. As much as we'd love seeing evil people that do evil deeds be held accountable and brought to justice, lawlessness, wickedness, children being abused and mutilated, and all sorts of just nastiness going on in front of our eyes. And guess what? He promised to come back and make all things new, not some things, all things. And he's going to redeem everything, y'all. Everything that's been allowed. It's not my will that's being done. It's not your will. It's not Trump's will. It's not anybody that you see that's a mere mortal human being. It's the Almighty's will that's being done on earth as it is in heaven.
And then it's right back to the same old song and dance. He's more than happy to call out the lies and failures and shortcomings of the Democrats, whether they're real or imagined. But with the Epstein cover-up, he doesn't have enough of a spine, enough integrity to actually criticize Trump directly. All he has to offer is, God is in control, Jesus take the wheel, for one single video. And then he's right back to it, never mentioning the Epstein files again. But happy to feed his audience whatever new conspiracy about those dirty Democrats Fox News has told him to parrot this week. It's genuinely sad to see somebody so detached from reality and so deep into his grift that even something as reprehensible as child trafficking isn't enough to pull him out of his bubble for more than 20 minutes one day right after the files were covered up. So yeah, I just wanted to do a quick look into the world of evangelical MAGAism, and it's exactly what one would expect. It's not about thinking. It's not about values or principles or truth. It's all about the team sport of politics and regurgitating the narrative that his team wants to hear to his audience, no matter how detached from reality it may be. And that's all I have today. Devon is a grifter with the brains and backbone of a jellyfish, and it's made him a lucrative career. It's disgusting on so many levels, and a reminder of why the disgusting meld of MAGA and evangelical Christianity is such a cesspool in America. So with that, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks, take care, and stay safe.